Welcome back to Commentary. I am Ari and we are playing some more Our Life. Let's see what Cove and I are up to today. Alright, let's see. How about we build a sandcastle next? Oh my god, that's kind of a tongue twister. Build a castle next. Oh my god. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When you, him, and Shiloh set out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering and blue, another reminder of the place he couldn't go. From what you'd heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, I don't know much about him. I know like kind of his personality, I guess, but not his life. Where does he come from? Like, what did he do before? Did he have friends and everything? Like, make a pact with a witch or something just to get his off his arm. You thought about how the summer last year must have been totally different from this. His summer last year. With his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else, and he couldn't even go into the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everybody felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in.
The water?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon.
Cove only sighed in response. Apparently, soon wasn't soon enough.
It's so pretty, the ocean.
And huge. There could be anything out there, like mermaids.
Yeah!
I wish you didn't have a cast. Me too. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back to the water. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening.
Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before.
It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away.
Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him.
I play too.
I love making sand stuff.
Okay.
He put his hands back on the seashells and sand and nodded.
I don't do it a lot. That's how I like to get a house started.
Shiloh focused more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided Cove's guiding Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have a humble structure prepared.
That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve in a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine's gonna be a real castle.
Cool.
This is gonna be a house.
Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decide to make a castle, a mansion, a castle. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decide to build a fancy castle. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks as everyone else as he usually did. At everyone else, okay. You finished snapping before either of them did, glancing up from what you built. Snapping. You finished shaping. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of shells, but there were still options. The first thing you reached for was a... Three piece of sea glass. That sounds dangerous. Blue seashell. Yeah, let's take a seashell. I don't want to put trash on my castle. It was the best fit for your castle, you decided. The blue color of it still reminded you of clean water. So you put it in a funny place where it'd take a second look to see it. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. I want to check out Cove's sandcastle. The sandcastle Cove had built looked super... Wait, surprising... Okay, let me reread this. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tiny, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished. He wasn't even finished digging the huge, gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. The silence was then broken. What's on the top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney.
Oh, it's just a gummy wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat.
It's cool. That's smart. I didn't think of that. Really know a lot about this. Shiloh smiled without a word. And that was that for the current topic. Ari, can I see what you did?
Sure.
He scooted just a bit nearer and began surveying your work. The castle you built was pretty impressive, all things considered. It had archways, tall walls, and even a little moat circling it. You would probably feel safe living there, but your moms were the queens. Maybe your moms were the queens. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation.
Hey Ari, what did you do? This is my castle.
Shiloh didn't look so happy anymore.
You both built castles?
Yeah.
That's neat, you guys match. It's too bad we didn't all do it. Next time we should.
I'm sorry, I didn't think about that.
Wouldn't that be boring?
If something is the only one if something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special. I mean, I was thinking if I made a mansion, it just would have seemed as if I'm trying to one-up everybody else, right? And I didn't want to do that. Because, yeah, I don't know. I just like sandcastles. Damn, if you want to make a house, make a house. If something is the only thing of that thing, that makes it special. So he's trying to intermediate now.
Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff.
People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual.
I don't think I'm very special.
Why?
Nobody else is like you. Shiloh simply shook his head.
I'm not different.
A beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastle the first time we came here to this beach. I didn't want to. Cove trailed off. Again there was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Ari? You waited to see if Shiloh would say what he wanted to. When he didn't, you considered Cove's question. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then, but he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense what Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh.
Well, I was there.
I don't think my mom has met your dad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Ari's parents and my dad met at the same day I met her. I'm gonna say what happened. Oh, poor Shiloh. Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His head cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell that he was upset for not being included in Cove's choice of topic. It was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say things they want is important too. Yeah, I want to hear Cove's story. I'm sorry, I don't know why Shiloh is here. I don't want to be rude, but I mean, I tried to make, I guess today I didn't try that hard to make him happy, but I'm sorry, I just want to hear the story. Or, is it that important? Shiloh needs to learn to speak up. How about this? Oh, I don't know. I feel so bad, but I want to hear the story. Shiloh could talk about stuff after Cove had the chance to share what he had planned on. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us. Only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. Okay, that's not much. I sat there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones where we met for the first time. Wow, so you just went up? Oh my god, you just vanished. Your father must have been so worried. Cove nodded, then stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything anymore. Aren't you going to finish your story? Cove's brow wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
And that's all that happened. Oh. Okay. Oh, you really gotta get better at telling stories. I guess, okay. What is it? What? You said that in a weird way. I don't think I did. Cove narrowed his eyes at you, suspicious. Shadow's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why did you bring that up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders.
Well,
I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle. It made me remember when I moved to here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cove's brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hand through the sand. I get it. You thought that maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach, and instead was hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other, and you could only wonder what this might be about. Hey, Shiloh.
yeah?
Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening? Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither of you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again.
I don't know, I guess.
It's okay. It's kind of weird. Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment, and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Oh, poor kid. Maybe it wasn't only his, perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal for Shiloh. Oh, a huge deal. He didn't just look sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got the answer.
Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody is named Cove.
Who asked you to come?
It was probably just your dad bugging Ari's family some more, cause you don't have anyone else who will play with you.
Cove blinked. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to laugh it off. Didn't seem like the kind of thing he would get upset about. You hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh.
I'm sorry.
Me too. I was just wondering. Yeah, I don't really know what to do right now. I guess I'm just gonna try to divert the action. Hey, let's build another sandcastle. How about that? Day's gonna be over soon.
Oh, Ari, you're right. The sun is going down so fast.
You all went back to making more sand buildings, and the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you tried to do something to resolve it, though, and it seemed like it helped. Even though Shiloh's smile when he said goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. Okay, so for my own opinion, I think the problem is Cove is kind of like my best friend right now. Like my playmate. And Shiloh, yes, he has been there before, but I guess I'm treating him kind of like an add-on because he was described as the friend of my sister. So it's kind of a bit weird that he's always taking along, but I don't mind it, you know what I mean? But I'm actively interested in Cove, but I'm not in Shiloh. That's the thing. Yeah. The two of you trailed out of the park together, walking toward the neighborhood. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoe thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. I want to know what he's thinking. Something was definitely up, so you chose to reach out to him and ask.
Hey Cove, is everything okay? You're making a funny face.
Oh, I was just wondering. Cove felt silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed. Why did Shiloh act like that? When I said he was already a lot. I mean, I don't think he was trying to make fun of him. I do think he was embarrassed. Is it kind of rude? I mean, he didn't mean it to be rude, but I guess that's how it came off. He's definitely not just being a baby. So either he gets embarrassed or you were rude to him. I guess it's kind of rude. You were being rude to him. No, it wasn't. It looked like that to me. And it wasn't just saying that one thing. You're not very nice to Shiloh. I didn't mean it like that. Shiloh is kind of weird to talk to. See, that's kind of rude. I guess I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seeming coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still a little sour. Hey, Ari, was Shiloh telling the truth?
Huh?
His gaze left yours as he dug the sole of his shoe into the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. An uncomfortable weight settled in your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't even have to think hard about it. You knew you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. I don't. Oh, this is hard. This is hard. I don't know what to do. I mean, nobody's making me spend time with you now. I mean, they tried, but I declined. I kind of want to tell him about the money thing, but I'm afraid that she will not tell him about how she refused and ended up spending time with him anyways. So I guess this is the truth. This is really the truth. Because I refused and I spend time with him now anyways, right? So this is my own choice. Wait, I didn't read it out. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. I just wanted to make sure it was okay, is all.
Thanks.
Thanks for telling me.
Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cove's gaze in earnest again. Keeping secrets was hard. I kinda wanna... Okay, shall we try telling him and see how it goes? I wanna... Okay. Let's see. You decide to tell him about his dad offered money to you. Okay, I'm gonna pick this if I can tell him that I still want to spend time with him. And that if I say I refused it. If I don't, I'm gonna pick the other option. Well, remember how you talked about how your parents met? Our parents met and I didn't know what happened?
Yeah?
I kind of had something happen that you don't know about when I met your dad. As you struggled to find the right words, Cove looked at you passively. You wanted to turn away, but you kept your eyes on him as you spoke. I was walking home and your dad was sitting in front of the house. It must have been after you ran away. My moms weren't there either. I think they were looking for you. Your dad saw me. He got up and came over. Mr. Holden told me that he just moved into the house next to mine. Cove was still listening, his expression as plain as before. You paused for a moment, wondering if you should really keep going. I tell the full story. Even if it was supposed to be a secret, you know, Cove should still know. Your dad thought that you might be lonely here, so he wanted me to be your friend. He said he'd give me $20 if I did. Cove was so still you thought he hadn't heard you. Then his eyes widened. His mouth fell open, but no sound left him. Silence stretched between you, so tense that it was almost tangible. You shifted from one foot to another, and your hands tensioned up. Please say something. Oh no. Oh no, I can't do this. Instead of speaking, he closed his mouth, his eyebrows bent up, crinkling his forehead. He looked more sad than surprised now. He was going to cry, you were certain of it. I didn't take it, the money. I didn't want it, honest. Cove raised his hands and brought them up under his glasses. His fingers pressed over his eyes, hiding them from your sight. Then, right in the middle of the street, the tears began to fall. His shoulders shook with the force of his sobs. You could glimpse wetness through the cracks of his fingers, slipping down his cheeks. Cove, it's okay. Touch his shoulder, place your hand over his head, step closer. Now I'm gonna step closer. You tried to reduce the distance between the two of you, but Cove shook his body from side to side, rejecting your presence.
No!
Oh, dang it. I don't know. You flinched at the shout. As you stood there, listening to him cry, you felt regret for telling him about the money. Yeah, I just felt bad about everything. I feel so sad. I don't want to lose my friend. You wish you were still making sandcastle on the beach before Cove was sad, before Shiloh was mad. Everything had been so much better then. Cove continued to weep, with his face covered by his hands. Worse, his voice raised in volume. You were frozen in place. The situation was awful, and you kept feeling worse every second. I hug him. You stepped up and tried to wrap your arms around him in a hug. Cove squirmed away from you again, though ducking his head. It was a full rejection. Now I'm gonna cry. You had heard a door opening and you flinched, expecting to see one of the mean old grandparents preparing themselves to yell at you. At this hour, most people weren't around, either because they were working or down in the town. But the grandparents rarely left the house, except to complain at children making noise in the street. You didn't want Cove to have to deal with that right now. You tried to come up with something you could do for him, for the situation, for anything. But the door that stood open now didn't belong to the grandparents. To your utter surprise and relief, it was Cove's own. His dad was already home. As he peeked out his door, Mr. Holden momentarily looked unsure. Perhaps he had suspicions on a noise outside, but wasn't entirely positive. Though a kid crying is pretty distinct, and there aren't a lot of kids. I'm a bit worried that I cannot go back right now. I don't know if I made a good call. I mean, he had to know eventually. I'm not sure if this was probably too early. Maybe he didn't want to believe something might be wrong with his son. His face fell as he spotted the source of the commotion. It was pain, and it was scared, and it reminded you of one he'd worn the first night you met Cove. Mr. Holden didn't go down the steps in front of his house. He jumped right over them, stumbled into a run. Okay, wait. So I got back to a point where I could save before everything happened, just in case the scene ends suddenly. But yeah, let's continue with this. Mr. Holden didn't go down the steps. I think I already read this. He skidded to a stop before Cove, bent down on one knee, and then solidly cupped Cove's teary face with his hands.
What's wrong?
Are you hurt anywhere? Cove continued to cry, unable or unwilling to carve out an explanation. Not taking his hands from Cove, Mr. Holden turned to you for your explanation, his eyes wide and imploring.
He was asking if you made me hang out with him. You did, so I told Cove how you wanted to give me money to be his friend.
As you spoke, Mr. Holden's chest rose while he inhaled a deep, shaky breath, culminating in a gasp at your final words. That's not how it happened. He's not making me hang out. He just tried to initiate it.
What?
Why would you? Oh my god, this is... Okay, this is all wrong. Ari's only a kid. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna take this.
Come on.
Wait, what? He's giving him cash to stop crying? No. No. That's not okay. I don't want this to go down this route. This is not alright. Nobody's making me spend time with you, and that's the truth. Because I just wanted to tell him about the money. I don't want to make him believe that like it's because of his dad, because it's clearly not.
Thanks.
Alright, this is way better. Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cove's gaze in earnest again. Keeping secrets was hard. Yeah, but like, he's gonna take it wrong if I tell him so.
You're welcome.
By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. I wanna hug him. I feel bad for what happened. You step forward and wrap your arms around him tightly. You turn your head, resting your cheek on his shoulder. Cove stood there awkwardly with his hands at his sides. He wasn't much of a hugger, but you didn't get the impression he was unhappy that you were.
Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow. Yeah, bye, Ari.
You pulled away then jogged towards your house. When you looked back, you saw Cove making his way back home too. As if he felt your eyes on him, he turned around. He waved. You did too. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad, or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would take it. Yeah, I know now, it's not good. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? Also, the dad is solving everything with money. What the hell? You might change your mind sometime. There was always tomorrow after all. But now was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. Alright, yeah, that's definitely how it should end it. Dear God. And I guess that's enough for today's episode here. Oh my god, the runaway is probably when he actually tries to leave house, right? And we have a sleepover. I'm so excited for the DLCs. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna play them on my own. But yeah, we're gonna see each other for 3 more episodes: the grown up, the long day, and the fireflies before we end this step 1. And I'm happy if you're going to come along with me. Until then, bye!